The Halo Killer. Oh, geez, he looks
Our
scary.
next story is a deeply disturbing one, involving a seemingly well-adjusted teenager shooting his family after they took away his copy of Halo 3. Daniel Petrick, age 16 at the time of this story unfolding, was by all means a normal kid. Living with his mother and father in their home in Wellington, Ohio, Daniel attended Wellington High School. Had many friends. People that knew Daniel described him as happy and easy to get along with. Daniel's father, Mark Petrick, was a Pentecostal church minister at a...
Pentecostal. My mother grew up in a Pentecostal church. That's a cult. It's a cult. Pentecostal is a cult.
Local church called the...
They believe in exorcisms.
New Life Assembly of God. Daniel regularly attended services here, and clergy members described him as, quote, enthusiastic about the Bible. All things considered, Daniel was a good kid. However, in 2006, things would take a turn for the worse after he suffered an injury during a skiing accident. Following the incident, Daniel also developed a serious staph infection resulting in spinal cord injury. Daniel's health complications would require the once active young man to remain homebound for a year to facilitate recovery. During this time of limited activity, Daniel would pick up unsavory habits such as spending hours upon hours a day watching television and playing video games. One video game series in particular that would prove to be extremely addictive for Daniel was Halo. While he was mostly homebound, Daniel was on occasion allowed to go to his friend's house, and it's here where he really got into the Halo franchise. When Daniel was with his friend, he would spend hours a day playing multiplayer, and he would become completely addicted to the game. Daniel would attempt to play Halo at his house as well, but after his religious father discovered the game's ESRB rating, the aliens, and the excessive violence in the game, he banned it from the house. And seeing his son's growing addiction to Halo, he would give him an ultimatum: either stop playing the game or get out. After receiving this ultimatum, Daniel would choose the latter option and go stay with his friend for the weekend. There, he would play more Halo and continue to feed his addiction. At this point, it's really the story of a gaming addiction deteriorating a family relationship, but it gets far worse than that. The time frame of Daniel getting kicked out of his house was in early October of 2007. And around this time, the newest edition of Halo, Halo 3, had been released to the public. In spite of his father's wishes, Daniel would secretly pull together the $60 needed and bought the game. He was eager to grind away at hours of multiplayer matches. However, at some point, when Daniel was returning home, his father catches him attempting to smuggle the copy of Halo 3 into the Petrick residence. After this discovery, the coveted game was immediately confiscated by Mark. The disgruntled father would put the copy of the game in his lockbox next to his 9mm handgun. While Daniel was extremely upset the night of the confiscation, as days passed, it appeared he relaxed and came to terms with the loss of the game. But this state of placation was all a big show, as Daniel had formulated a devious plot to get his hands back on the game. On the evening of October 20th, 2007, Daniel would discover the location of his father's lockbox keys. While his parents were distracted watching television, Daniel would sneak into his parents' room.
I did. My bad.
Not only the copy of Halo 3.
Do you need a dog? I can bark. I'm an Afghan hound. Oh, sick. Yeah, if you want to bark, you can.
At approximately 7 p.m., Daniel reportedly walked up to his parents from behind as they were sitting on the couch. And it's at this point he's quoted as saying, "Can you two close your eyes? I have a surprise for you." The family obliged, and moments later, Daniel would draw the handgun and shoot both of his parents in the head. After shooting his family, Daniel would place the gun near his father's body, in an effort to stage the crime scene and implicate his father for the shooting. However, while he's doing this, a visitor comes to the house. Daniel's sister and her husband would arrive to the residence for a planned viewing of a televised baseball game. Daniel knew these two were coming, but they arrived 2 hours earlier than expected, catching Daniel off guard. When the couple got to the door, they found it locked and Daniel wouldn't let them inside. However, eventually they managed to get in and discovered the horrific scene. Daniel, now in a panic, would take the keys to the family van and flee the property.
Oh my
He
god.
reportedly had plans to travel to his Halo-playing friend's house and hold out, but Daniel's escape plans would be thwarted after his sister dialed 911 and reported the murder.
My mom is shot and my dad is shot. My brother's here. My brother said, don't come in, don't come in.
Police would intercept the stolen van and take the deranged teenager into custody.
Holy shit.
Why would my dad shoot my mom? I don't know, man. Lord, please don't let my dad die. Please don't let my dad die.
What comes next is a bizarre interrogation where Daniel shirks any responsibility for the incident. Rather, he spins an unbelievable narrative trying to frame his own father for a murder-suicide.
My dad was just yelling, just screaming at my mom. And then...
You can tell when someone's lying.
Dad walked
The stance. Like he's just like covering his mouth because he's not telling the truth.
in the room.
And he's hugging himself for comfort.
And then walked back out. Oh, I ran out there. And my mom had been shot. He pointed the gun at me. And then he said he was sorry, and then he shot himself.
The gaming-addicted teenager was taking no responsibility for what he had just done to his parents. Unfortunately, Daniel's mother, Susan, was sadly killed during the shooting. However, his father, Mark, would miraculously survive the attack despite a shot to the head.
Mr. Peter, did Daniel shoot you?
Traumatizing.
Mark would eventually make a full recovery and would be able to participate in the inevitable murder trial that his son would be facing. Daniel's trial would begin in December of 2008. In court, prosecutors would attempt to portray Daniel as a cold and calculated killer.
Hope he gets
a
parole
deranged
too.
sociopath that was willing to kill his
Hope he
own
doesn't get
family over
parole.
something as trivial as a video game. They noted that Daniel
That's just being nervous, often associated with lying, can also come from being in a interrogation room. Nervous. Yeah. Yeah, literally nervous. Covering his mouth. Like, comforting himself, being nervous. Or being... But, like, when you're in such a state of, like, upsetness, the feelings of, like, panic and, like, overwhelmment and stuff are gonna trump the fear of, like, being interrogated. Right? The fact that he drove away and did completely the wrong things in the situation as well. Just like, he would have had a completely different reaction to...
had planned out his murderous plot a week ahead of time and attempted to frame his father after the killing. The defense would present a rather interesting case for Daniel. Rather than attempting to deny any of the facts of what had happened, the defense tried to argue that Daniel was not guilty by reason of insanity, essentially claiming that Daniel's Halo addiction was so severe that it caused him to make irrational decisions out of his control in an effort to feed that addiction. His attorney would make an additional argument, one suggesting that Daniel was playing Halo so much that his perception of reality was warped by the game itself, noting that when players die or kill another in-game, they always respawn. You know, the argument basically suggesting that Daniel's mind was so warped and influenced by the game that he literally thought that if he shot his parents, they would recover, respawn, or just magically get better like Halo characters do. It's an interesting argument, but it would ultimately not satisfy the court. After the emotional trial had concluded, Daniel Petrick was found guilty of aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder, and tampering with evidence. In June of 2009, 17-year-old Daniel Petrick was sentenced to serve 23 years to life in prison. He will become eligible for parole in 2030. A lot of time has passed since the Halo 3 shooting incident in 2007. Daniel and
So welcome to the Gaming Killers, the internet's deadliest gamers. I never do that. I get nightmare and wake up screaming if I see anything gruesome. Yeah. I mean, that's probably normal. I tell you, given parole, Did he get given parole?
His father, Mark, have both had ample time to reflect on the situation. Prison interviews show an extremely remorseful son and a father that has learned to forgive Daniel for his actions.
I can't count the number of times he has told me that he's so sorry for what he did and he'll never be able to forgive himself. I can't count the number of times that he said, Dad, I miss Mom. I miss Mom.
I've always taken responsibility for it. I don't try to deny that. I know it's nobody's fault but my own.
Your dad at that time was fighting for his life. When he finally came to, he said that he hated you.
Oh, no hatchling.
Despised you. Can you understand that?
Absolutely. You know, could I blame him? You know, in light of what I did today, even if that was the way he still looked at me, could I blame him? I don't think I could.
We all deserve forgiveness. And I will now continue to choose to forgive my son. I want to help him. I want to help get the word out to other people so these kinds of things don't continue to happen, like the Sandy Hook shootings.
A tragic story of video game addiction and murder. That is the
Damn.
story of Daniel Petrick, the Halo 3 killer. And that wraps up my video game killers compendium. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you leave a comment below and leave a like if you liked it. I want to give a major shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys.
Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. No, he didn't take responsibility when he was arrested. Yeah, I don't know. He's still got weird vibes to me, like he's gonna do something, like commit something else. I don't know, but maybe he won't. I don't know. Probably not. But then he spent most of his life in like a fake reality again. That's his main argument about the fake reality of gaming and stuff. He's in a prison with the same ideas. It seems like he's very easily influenced, so he might have that like mentality still, you know? Who knows? As I get told, if I was sorry, I wouldn't have done it. And I'd be like, but then I'd have nothing to be sorry about, and my dad would say, exactly. That's the thing, like, I think a lot of the things we do sometimes when we need to say sorry for them, it's because it's out of like impulsivity and stuff like that, or like, I don't know, you weren't in your right mind. Like, it can be, you know, your hormones were off and you reacted a way that you probably wouldn't if it was a different day of the week. Things like that, you know, like, can very much change the way you interact with people, but not so much that you fucking kill. Anyway, that's fucking fucked.